In the darkest days of World War II, when the skies over the Eastern Front were a constant battleground, a legend was born. But this isn't just a story about a pilot, it's the story of the White Lily of Stalingrad, a woman who defied expectations and became one of history's greatest fighter aces. Her name was Lydia Litvyak. Born in Moscow in 1921, Lydia was fascinated by aviation from a young age. By 14, she had joined an aero club, and by 15, she had performed her first solo flight. This early passion set the stage for an extraordinary career. When Germany invaded the Soviet Union, Lydia, like many of her compatriots, was eager to defend her homeland. But at the time, the Soviet Air Force didn't allow women in combat roles. Undeterred, Lydia found a way. She exaggerated her pre-war flight hours to meet the stringent requirements for entry into the newly formed all-female aviation regiments, a pioneering initiative led by the famous aviator Rana Asif. Lydia was initially assigned to the 586th Fighter Aviation Regiment, flying the Yak-1 fighter. Her early missions involved defending strategic locations like but Lydia yearned for the front lines, for the heart of the action. Her chance came during the Battle of Stalingrad, one of the most brutal and decisive battles of the entire war. In September 1942, she was transferred to the 437th Fighter Aviation Regiment, a men's unit fighting over the besieged city. On her very first day, the men of the regiment watched skeptically as this young, blonde woman prepared for combat. They wouldn't be skeptical for long. On September 13, 1942, during her third combat sortie over Stalingrad, Lydia achieved something incredible. She engaged a German Junkers 88 bomber and, with precision and skill, shot it down. But she wasn't done. In the same engagement, she turned her sights on a Messerschmitt Bf-19, a formidable German fighter. The pilot of that Bf-19 was a decorated German ace with 30 victories to his name. In the intense dogfight that followed, Lydia outmaneuvered and downed his plane. The German pilot, who parachuted to safety and was captured, was astounded to learn he had been defeated by a woman. This victory immediately earned Lydia the respect of her male comrades and a fearsome reputation among the enemy. It was during this time that she earned her famous nickname. Lydia had a habit of painting a white lily on the side of her aircraft for each kill. Soon, German pilots learned to fear the sight of that lone Yak fighter with the distinctive flower emblem. They called her the White Lily of Stalingrad. Her aerial prowess was undeniable. She was a natural hunter, with exceptional eyesight and an intuitive feel for her aircraft. She could spot enemy planes from incredible distances and had a sixth sense for anticipating their moves. Lydia wasn't just a skilled pilot, she was a tenacious and aggressive fighter. She didn't just defend, she attacked. She would often break formation to pursue enemy aircraft, a risky tactic that frequently paid off. Over the next few months, her kill count grew steadily. She shot down bombers, reconnaissance planes, and even an artillery observation balloon, a surprisingly difficult and dangerous target. For her bravery and success, she was promoted to junior lieutenant and awarded the Order of the Red Star. She was then transferred to the elite 296th Fighter Aviation Regiment, which later became the 73rd Guards Fighter Aviation Regiment. Here, she flew alongside other top Soviet aces, including her future husband, Alexei Sabatin. They were a formidable pair, both in the air and on the ground. They fell in love amidst the chaos of war, sharing a passion for flying and a fierce determination to win. But the war was relentless and unforgiving. The life of a fighter pilot was fraught with danger, and tragedy was never far away. Lydia herself was wounded twice and shot down several times, but she always managed to return to the fight. In May 1943, her husband Alexei was killed in a training accident. The loss was devastating, but Lydia channeled her grief into an even greater resolve. She returned to the cockpit with a vengeance. On August 1, 1943, during the intense air battles over the Mias front, Lydia Litvyak flew her final missions. She was just a few weeks shy of her 22nd birthday. On that day, she flew for combat sorties. In the first three, she successfully escorted Soviet ground attack planes and shot down 2 enemy fighters. On her fourth and final mission, her squadron was ambushed by a large group of German Bf-109s during the chaotic dogfight. Her fellow pilots saw her Yak-1 bank and dive into the clouds, pursued by multiple German fighters. She was never seen again, because her body and plane were not recovered. The Soviet authorities initially suspected she might have been captured, a suspicion that prevented her from receiving the highest military honor, Hero of the Soviet Union. For decades, her fate remained a mystery. But people who knew her story, especially school children from the region where she disappeared, never gave up the search. In 1979, after years of searching, they discovered the wreckage of an aircraft and the remains of a female pilot. It wasn't until 1986 that forensic examination confirmed the remains were indeed Lydia Litvyak's. She had not been captured. She had died fighting for her country. Finally, in 1990, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev officially awarded Lydia Litvyak the title of Hero of the Soviet Union posthumously. With 12 solo victories and several shared kills, she remains the highest-scoring female fighter ace in history. Lydia Litvak's story is one of incredible courage, skill, and sacrifice. She shattered stereotypes and proved that heroism knows no gender in the malo-dominated world of aerial combat. She not only held her own but rose to become a legend. The White Lily of Stalingrad may have flown her final mission, but her legacy continues to inspire generations. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as inspiring as we do, please hit the like button, subscribe for more stories of incredible historical figures,